Hey everyone, George here. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about setting up a simple brine shrimp hatchery. And this particular one is made by a company called San Francisco Bay Company. And they are famous for their small foods and live foods for fry. And that's what this kit basically is. Now, the only thing this does not come with is the bottle, the heat lamp, which is essential for this, and also the pump. But it does come with the tubing, the check valve, and the base here where the 2-liter bottle fits in, and also a temperature gauge on here, which your fry need to be hatched between 80 and 82 degrees. This is exactly right on. I know you can't see it on here because it's not going to show up, but trust me, it's reading right at 81 degrees. It's between 80 and 82 degrees is the perfect ideal situation for this. Now, one of the things that you're going to get with this is a few packs of Sally's hatch mix, which is brine shrimp eggs with the salt. Now that's important because salt's very important for the mix of this. If you don't have the proper amount of salt mixed in, if you're using brine shrimp that you purchased, and you can use this kit, no problem, but you have to have the right amount of salt in there in the mix to get the brine shrimp to hatch out. Now this comes pre-packaged this way, which is very handy to have, so you don't have to really worry about it. You just sprinkle some of this in there, and basically based on how much you want to use and how much fry you have. I have some Discus fry coming up, and I have the Philippine Blue Angels that I'm raising as well. So this comes in handy for me. I don't have to worry about mixing it and worrying about the salt content and all that. That's pre-packaged right in here. Now, one of the things that I did mention already is the pump. Now, the air pump is something that I have several of these on hand. I think I bought these on Amazon, and they were about $16 a piece. And these run not only on electrical, but they also charge at the same time and run on a battery. They'll run about 12 hours on a battery if they are fully charged, and that is essential, especially if you're in a situation where you have power outages in your area and so forth. So I recommend these to you. Anything that you're looking at for an air pump, look for ones that are capable of running on battery power in case you have power outages in the days and times that we live in right now. That's going to become important to you. Now this line basically comes out of one of the two feeds here, and it does that and goes right into the bottom of the base of this, and of course creates the environment for this bubbling and flow inside this 2-liter bottle, which is going to keep these eggs moving. It's essential that the eggs are moving. That is why this circulation and air stone is important here, because it keeps the eggs moving constantly, and they should hatch within 24 to 36 hours. If you're late in the game on this, it could be a problem for you. So try to get something like this set up on hand before your fry hatch out and become wigglers and then free swimmers, and then you won't have a problem with this kind of thing. Now, the other component to this is a heat lamp. The heat lamp can be a really hard thing to find. You can take a simple lamp in your home with like a 60-watt bulb and figure out the distance. As long as you have, like I said, a temperature gauge down here that tells you, what your temperature's at, you can kind of set it up ahead of time with some water in it and kind of gauge what the temperature is before you start putting the brine shrimp in there. Like I said earlier in the video, the ideal temperature is 80 to 82 degrees for brine shrimp to hatch. Now, what I did is I bought a reptile light that had certain levels on it of heat, And I figured out the distance between these two things with that light shining on there, keeping it at a constant 81 degrees, which is perfect for this scenario. Now, I searched online for this. There are many of them online that do exactly the same thing. You can get these anywhere from $16 up to $25, depending on how sophisticated you want it to be. I like this one because it does have different levels of heat, so you can use it for other things if you need to. But this is basically a reptile heating lamp for lizards, snakes, whatever you're keeping. But I am using it because I didn't have anything small enough to shine directly on there, and I wanted to be safe about this. This basically clamps on to anything. I clamped it on the side of this particular shrimp or fish tank with the fry in here for my baby angels, and that works really well because then I can directly get it right to the bottle. Now, one of the things I would tell you is to be extremely careful not to place it too close, because you get into a situation where you can create a fire hazard or environment. So you want to make sure that you have this thing at a distance and nothing else too close to it either, where you get into a situation where it gets too hot and then you've got a problem on your hands. But one of the things that I would tell you is that you really need to pay attention to the brine shrimp. When they start to hatch out in that 24 to 36 hours, that's when you want to cultivate them for your fish fry and start to use them. And it's very important that you don't put too many of them in here, because they're not good for a real huge amount of time. You can keep them going in here for a day, 24 to 48 hours, and then you really kind of have to do some fresh brine in this hatchery. So thank you for joining me today. I appreciate it. I hope this gives you an idea on how to set up a simple brine hatchery situation. I have been doing this for a while, raising discus, so I kind of had this kit in place for a while, and it's very important. Again, I want you to be extra careful with the lamp, because this puts off quite a bit of heat, and when it does that, you don't want to have anything in the way. Now, I do have some alternative foods I wanted to talk about just for a second before we end this video. You can try to feed your fry Artemida, and that sometimes will work for fry. If it doesn't work, it's just going to foul up your tank, so be extremely careful not to put a ton of food in there. Allow the fish to get a taste of it and see if they like it. If they do, then you can add a little bit more, but be careful, like I said, not to add too much, because this is a very small powder and it can end up at the bottom of the tank and foul up your tank very quickly. And one of the most important ones is called First Bites. This is made by Hatchery. And I really like this stuff, because if they're going to eat anything, it's this stuff right here. And this can be a life-saving situation if you don't have a brine shrimp situation set up. Get yourself a brine shrimp situation, but if you don't have it, use these First Bites, and that will get you through the first couple of days when they still have that yolk sac that they're living off from, and eating this stuff as well. And this works pretty darn good. Most fish will be accepting of this. Most fry, I should say, will be accepting of this. I wouldn't suggest feeding this solely to them. I would set up a brine shrimp hatchery like what we have here, and give it an opportunity to give your fish some live food, which they're guaranteed to go after. This is what's stimulating to fry, is seeing the movement in the water of these and letting the fish go after them. So I hope this helped anybody who's out there trying to figure out the easiest way to set up a brine shrimp hatchery. I happen to have a utility room here that I've set this fry tank up in, and I've also had a lot of room here to set up this little brine situation here, and of course there's a sink and everything in here which I can hook my Python up to here for cleaning. So this is an ideal situation. Everybody might not have this kind of a situation or the ability to have a room like this, but try to find yourself a location that's easily accessible and something where you're not going to make a big mess, and that you do have, like I say, a sink close by where when the fish when the brine have sort of gone their distance, you can clean it up really fast by just dumping the water out, cleaning the bottle really good. You want to clean these in between hatching new brine. You want to make sure that these things are extremely clean, and just using hot water. Do not use any kind of detergents or anything like that, just like you would with anything else with your fish tanks. Do not use detergents. But this situation, as I said, works really well. Thanks for joining me today. I appreciate it. I hope this helped a lot of you figure out an easy way to set up a brine hatchery. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below, and I'm likely to get back to you within 24 to 48 hours. Thank you for joining me today. Give me a thumbs up on this one. If you have not subscribed already to the channel, I would appreciate it if you take a second to do that. And also share the video with your friends. This is how this channel gets its new subscribers, and I really appreciate everyone who does that. That's always a great thing to have. People share the videos with others or recommend it. You can also go to my Facebook page, which is Aquatic Concepts, and you'll find me there, and of course on this YouTube channel and Instagram as well. Again, thank you for joining me today. I appreciate it. We will see you on the next one. Until there, I really hope that you're able to set up a nice little brine shrimp situation like I have here, and that helps you a lot. Until then, we will see you on the next one. We're out of here.